Hey, Sean, I guess we'll just start. Why the decision to relieve Ken Dorsey from his offensive coordinator duties?
Yeah, I'll start, John, by just thanking Ken and his family for their investment on our team, and just felt like it was time for change. We need to be a confident offensive football team and find consistent production, and that's really what it came down to.
What do you feel you need to see from that unit moving forward under Joe?
Yeah, I mean, just more than anything, like I just said, is come out with an energy about our offense and what we're doing, and move the football and score points. I mean, that's really the offense's job at the end of the day.
Thanks, Sean.
John, this move is going to come, on a short week here, going Monday into Sunday, when you had two longer weeks where, it might have been a little more convenient to make a move like this and make a change. Is that an indication of the urgency that was required, that this move had to happen right now?
Well, I know listen, there's never a good time to do it, right? In particular on a short week. It just felt like this was the right time, and always want to try and do what's best for the team, and I felt like this was needed right now. And as we go into that locker room on Sunday to play the Jets across the street here at home, that this is the move that was needed, and that's why I did it.
This is a move that I don't think you've been a part of in your career in terms of being on a team where a coordinator change was made mid-season. What is your anticipation of the impact, whether it be in the locker room or, with the coaching meetings, or how this is going to be received organizationally wide?
With the locker room, you're saying, or the players or the coaches?
Locker room players primarily, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's an unfortunate part of our business, right? It's a results-driven business, and sometimes changes are made. And in particular, when they happen during the course of the season, you've got to turn the page rather quickly, unfortunately, and move on and get yourself ready to go for this week.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Hey, Sean, John Worrell. You talk about confidence and energy. What sapped this offense of its confidence and energy, do you think?
Well, I mean, I think it's just when you're not producing, right, that over the course of time, that's what wears confidence levels thin, and I think that's really the goal here is to find that confidence again, either before or after you get some consistent production. And I think through the better course of 10 games, that's really where we were. We were inconsistent, and because of that, not scoring enough points. So that's the at this point, that's the goal. We've got to find that confidence. We've got to find that energy. We've got to find that consistent level of production.
And how much did you feel this move was necessary to not, I guess, lose the locker room in some ways, because the defense has been banged up and the offense seems to be frustrated?
Give me your question.
How much do you feel that this move was necessary to not lose your locker room, in the sense that the defense, has been banged up and playing very well, and the offenses look frustrated?
Well, I think more than anything, it's to make sure that we're trying to improve our football team in every area that we can. And that's my job as the head coach of this football team. So, when you look at, again, like I said a few minutes ago, we're going in 5 days back in that locker room. And I think it's important that those guys feel, hey, something's changed, right? And there's something new that we can be excited about in terms of, an opportunity to improve, really. And I think that's a piece of it, but also it just, like I said, just got to be the right time right now to make the move, and see if we can get some energy about our offense right now.
Thanks, Sean.
Hey, Sean, Josh Reed here. Thanks for taking some time for us. From a human kind of aspect of this whole thing, I would say a lot more people have been on Ken Dorsey's shoes than your shoes. What's it like to have that conversation, assuming that Ken Dorsey was doing all that he possibly could to succeed and working hard at his job? How tough is that?
Yeah, Josh, I appreciate that. It is extremely tough. And when a person, a coach like Ken has been working as hard as he's been working, it makes it doubly tough to share that news. Ken's a good person. His family are great people, and like I said, they were invested deeply in our organization, our team, and they've done great things. They've helped us accomplish a lot here. So it made it doubly tough.
And one just last thing for you. So Joe Brady becomes the interim OC. Who takes over as the quarterback coach now?
Yeah, we're still working through that, as you'd imagine, with the short week and game planning, and that's really what we're focused on right now. And then I'm sure the follow-up questions are going to be who's going to go where's Joe going to call it from, and we'll work through that as the week unfolds.
Okay. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, during the course of, the last year and a half, obviously the last half season, you have now been preparing to go against opposing offenses. Did you feel like your offense became too predictable?
You know what? I just, like I said, I think overall the best thing to do right now is not get into kind of what the reasons were that led to this change, but just overall what we can do about it moving forward. And that's really what I'm focused on right now. Is I just felt this was the right time. Certainly, unfortunate situation. But overall, trying to instill some new energy in our offense, some new confidence, some new consistency in terms of the production, producing on a more consistent level. So whether it was predictable, not predictable, I certainly have my opinions overall. I'll keep those in-house for now, if you don't mind.
It feels like the natural progression was that if this move was going to be made, that Joe would get elevated into that interim role. But what has he done from your standpoint to kind of earn this opportunity? I know he's called plays in the past and he's had the job before, but from the time he's joined your team, what have you seen from him to kind of give him this opportunity?
Well, he comes with some experience, to your point. I think overall, just his day-to-day command of his job, more than anything. And, it's like anything else, some of this is a projection, and also want to see what he can do in this role. And he has a close relationship with Josh and as a quarterback coach. And we talked this afternoon and really actually earlier this morning, and he's got some ideas, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Thank you, Sean.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, I was curious, you said now was the right time to do this on a short week. Obviously, that comes with difficulties. Why did you feel like this week, right now, today was the day to do this versus maybe last week when you might have had an extra day for game planning and adjustments and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's just, overall, again, I wanted to look at where we were and where we might be able to go moving forward. And I just didn't feel like last week was the right time, and really was focused on winning the game, as I am this week. And I want to give our players the best chance to win, and I felt like this was a decision that would do that going into Sunday's game.
Obviously, you mentioned Joe's relationship with Josh. Josh had heavily endorsed Dorsey and, had a lot of support for him. What have the conversations been like with Josh in making this change? And obviously, mentioned getting that confidence back in the locker room, his confidence specifically with the turnovers as of late. What have those conversations kind of been like with Josh in making this change?
Well, Josh and I speak daily, and this decision was made by me and me alone. Beyond that, it's Josh's responsibility and job to come out and help Coach Brady formulate the game plan, and then come out and execute the game plan and take care of the football and lead our offense more than anything.
Thanks, Sean.
Hey, Sean, Heather here. Just where do you see Josh, like his mentality and kind of just where he is in his mental state right now? I know the words confident has come up a lot, but with Josh specifically, where do you see he is right now, just mentally?
Yeah, probably not where we'd like him to be. And that's natural based on some of the results that we've gotten this year, some of the results he's gotten, some of the turnovers in particular. But I'm confident that he'll find it. And I think, again, just some of the new energy around our offense, my hope is, and my aim is that it'll create a little bit of confidence, clarity, and ability to anticipate it as opposed to, in some cases, react. And I think that's what a part of playing the quarterback position is all about.
how have you seen Josh's relationship with Joe kind of progress as Joe joined this organization?
As you know, Josh is an easy guy to get along with, and so it didn't surprise me that the two of them, formed a good relationship, much like Coach Dorsey did it with Josh as well. And so I think that Joe and Josh have a good relationship, and now it's going to be taken to another level with Joe in a slightly different seat. So, but my hope is that connection that was newly formed over the last year and change will serve them both well in this new challenge.
Sean.
Hi, Sean. Fans, media people, they generally look at, coaching a lot of times the big picture, scheme, play calling, things like that. But, the details, you're always very prideful of the details and the fundamentals and being buttoned up. And that's gotten away from your team a little bit here offensively, the fumbles, the interceptions. How much of that goes into thinking about the overall decision? How much of that is coaching, those little details on a day-to-day basis of being buttoned up and maybe leads to something like this?
Well, I think to your point, Sal, scheme is one thing, right? But sometimes it's in the margins, right, too. And so you got to look at both when you're looking at the broader picture of everything, and fundamentals, technique, overall energy, as I said, of the offense in this case. A certain level, a certain DNA of the offense and mindset, and so I think that's important, right? And because running plays is one thing, but how you run them is another, and the pride that you take in doing things the right way. And so it's never just one thing, but you got to evaluate the total package here.
And one question on yesterday's game. I don't think you were asked this after the game, so I apologize if you were. You elected to take the ball first on the opening coin toss. What went into that decision to do that, and kind of a departure from what you normally do?
Yeah, I just wanted to find ways to jumpstart things and to show the offense that I was confident in them, and wanted to see us come out and move the football. And unfortunately, we fumbled the ball away on the first play. So, it didn't go the way I wanted it to, but I was hoping to find a way to spark some things there.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, hey, Sean. On the broadcast, we saw you getting after Josh a little bit after one of his interceptions. I believe it was the one just before the half. Do you feel there's any need for him to be coached a little bit harder moving forward than he has been throughout the season?
Well, it's always with every player, you're always trying to be the best coach you can be for that player, right? And teach them in the way that they respond best. And so sometimes in this case for Josh, it's going to be tough love. And I believe in the truth. I believe in honesty. And so I had seen enough yesterday of turning the ball over. And so he was going to hear it. So I think that at the end of the day, I don't believe in jading the truth because I don't think you grow from it, even though those conversations are hard once in a while. They got to take place.
Hey, Sean, when you balance a decision like this, and you mentioned a couple times this season that you're heavily involved in all three phases, how do you balance the accountability for the offense's struggles with Ken and the job that he's done, and then your involvement with that unit?
I'm sorry, Matt, give me your question again.
Just, obviously you're involved in all three phases, right? You're controlling to a certain degree what the offense does. How do you balance your own accountability when you're making a decision like this in your role in the offense, and maybe even pitching it forward a little bit, what you might have learned this season that you're going to apply to now this new relationship with Joe and his new role?
Right. Listen, I'm the head coach of the football team. So, I always start with myself first. I think that's the right way to do things as a leader. And I try and do that. So we can all be better, starting with me. And, just overall, I try and give my coordinators room to put their signature on each phase, right? Special teams, offensively in this case, and give them enough room to do their jobs along with their staff. I believe in that. And so, I feel like, again, a change was needed, and I'm excited about what could become moving forward. It is a short week, but again, in fairness to the players, I felt like this was the right time. And we're looking for just an overall energy about our offense and confidence.
And in terms of the, the locker room, could you kind of assess the status or state of the culture inside the building? So much has been made, nationally about maybe the room, there being a problem in the locker room. Pat McAfee, who has a bunch of your players on his show, was even talking about that there potentially being a problem in the locker room. Do you sense that's the case?
I'm not aware of what he was referring to. I can just tell you that we've got good guys in our locker room, and for years these guys have hung together, and we've won a lot of games. And at the end of the day, they're frustrated, right? And so, it's my job as a coach to find ways to inspire change, and that's what I did in this situation to get us to where we're trying to get to as a football team.
Hey, Sean, you've mentioned a few times just looking for more confidence out of the team. I was wondering, outside of just like wins alone, where do you tangibly hope to see confidence, or vice versa? Where have you not seen it lately across the offense?
Well, I think, like I said, there's been times when we have moved the ball and scored points, but those times, I believe, have become few and far between, right? So, I can point to the Miami game, which I felt very good about. Obviously, we scored on just about, if not every drive there. But since that Miami game, and really before that, there were some times when I didn't feel like we were moving the ball well enough and scoring points. So it's the whole thing, right? It's the whole body of work. It's not just off of 2 games or 4 games. It's the entire season at this point. And so that's really the way I evaluated the entire season.
So I guess just to clarify, that is, to you, confidence, is that mostly scoring points, or are there intangible things that you're also sensing on the offense over that whole stretch of games?
Yeah, both. Like when Sally asked me about some of the finer points, some of the details, some of the fundamentals, it's in the margins. That's one piece, and then it's also you look at the X's and O's, right? And so just evaluate the whole thing.
Thanks, Sean.
Coach, good afternoon. Mookie Hawkins, 1-4 Sports Cincinnati. How you doing?
I'm all right, Mookie.
Yeah, Coach. 10 games in, how tough has this been for you? Having these dual roles as head coach in DC. Can it be overwhelming for you at times?
No, I'm good to go, man. I'm as frustrated as anyone out there, and we're trying to win one game at a time right now. Right? We got a chance to right the ship, and I'm extremely proud of how guys played at some positions last night, like I mentioned, and I thought the defense played really well through the better part of the game, but there's also things that we can do better defensively as well. So we've got to get back to playing winning football on the offensive side of the ball and special teams in particular, coming off the last game.
Absolutely, man. You guys are at 500 for the first time in a long time. You guys have been battling, literally just been battling out there. So, Coach, how do you regain having a pulse on what this team should look like?
I feel like I know what it should look like. You use the word regain. I think I know, and I've always known what it should look like. We've won a lot of games around here, so I don't think I've ever lost that. To be honest with you.
Appreciate your time, Coach.
Sean, when you need to make a decision like this, how much of it is on the collective, meaning all the different parts involved with the team, that when you don't do your job or when we aren't successful as an organization, people lose their jobs?
I'm not sure. Help me understand the question so I can answer it directly, Tim.
Well, how much of this is on the players that Ken Dorsey lost his job, or is this strictly Ken Dorsey's merit?
Like I said, it's never just one piece, right? It's never one piece. So it's like anything else. It starts in that regard. But it's never just one piece. It's a just like anything, it's a shared commitment and a shared investment and a shared result. So that's really what it boils down to.
What if any consideration was made to making a similar change with special teams?
Not doing that. Confident in Coach Smiley, and we obviously didn't play well enough last night, and in the return game, in terms of their returns, their kickoff returns, their punt returns, and then the situation at the end of the game. So certainly not happy about that, and that's something that we take pride in terms of our preparation, our detail. And like I mentioned after the game, we practiced that this week, in fact, and something as quote unquote simple as that, a substitution pattern that should be able to be executed right there.
And is there any additional explanation you can give on that with the extra man on the field, through your debriefing, reviewing the situation, talking with Matt Smiley as to what happened there?
Well, if you look before half, Tim, it was somewhat of a similar situation where they were kicking a faster field goal, and normally you stay with your defensive team out there, your defensive, we call it defensive stay. And you do that so that you're not having a fire drill type of situation unfold where you're trying to get so many on and so many off. And now at the end of the game, there's two schools of thought. Either you do the same and rush with your defensive unit, or you try and get your block, your max rush unit out there. And that's what Coach tried to do. And unfortunately, a certain amount went in and not the equivalent came out. And so we ended up with one too many.
And then just my last question, this is more, I guess, from a rules standpoint, because it seemed to be some confusion among fans out there, and I don't know the answer. But when a team rushes its field goal unit out there, do you have the chance, or should the officials delay the play to allow you to get your team out there just like you would a personnel substitution on defense? How does that work?
Yeah. Well, I think it's both. I think, yeah, it's that everybody knows the situation, the clock's running, and the rule is underneath 2 minutes, they do not have to allow you to, they don't have to stand over the ball basically if they sub. So it just rolls.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks, Sean.
Yep.
Sean, you mentioned it's never one thing, and that some of your reasons for this are going to stay private. But where would the offense's tendency to turn the ball over sort of rank in things that tip this decision for you?
It's certainly up there, and it's you can't win football games doing that. It's losing football, and so. I think that's one of the boulders, if you will, of just things that are non-negotiable and things you can't do and expect to win. Does it happen from time to time? Yeah, it happens to everyone, but it can't happen as much as it's been happening, because you're not going to give yourself a chance to win as a team. So it's a piece of it, but it's all part of a bigger picture.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, you guys are going up against the Jets here on Sunday afternoon. What makes them so tough on defense? I know you guys played them in the first week of the season, but why are they so tough to score on? And how important will that fast start on offense be, knowing that they're a team that can take the ball away and are hard to score against in the red zone?
Yeah, they've got a tremendously talented football team, Maddie, and in particular on the defensive side. I mean, they've got multiple number one picks, high picks on that defensive front, Sauce Gardner as well. And so extremely talented defense that plays fast and physical.
And then on defense for you guys, how great was it to see you guys take the ball away again? It was a couple games without that, but how important is that going to be going forward, knowing that the offense unfortunately has had a few turnovers this season?
Yeah, that was good to see. I mean, the guys were playing hard, they were playing fast, and they were physical. And so when you do that, sometimes that ball comes out. So glad to see us, super excited to see us run to the football and really outwork people right there. And that's some of what I'm talking about with it's in the margins, right? In terms of your effort, your tenacity, how physical you play. And it's not always just the X's and the O's.